new.
New.
That's recording.
It's recording.
That's just more editing time, Jack. Come on. Welcome back to another episode of the Hear2Listen Podcast. Today, like most other podcasts, it is myself, Max. I'm joined by Leon.
Yo.
Jack.
Yes.
And
Hello.
Adam.
I interrupted you. We were just talking, for the listeners, we were just talking about how Max interrupts. What did I do?
Yes. And also, if you take back to last podcast, I actually introduced you, and then before you could say hello, I moved on.
We need to find a middle ground, Max.
Oh, dear. Anyway, we're here. We're back. We are back in the building. What are we saying then, boys?
I caught a massive fish yesterday. So I am, do you know what? I'm sort of coming down from the high now. So like I'm on a low one. I'm just ready to get my next big monster. You know what I mean? That's £20. I can't claim that. £19 common carp for everyone that fishes out there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you weigh it properly?
Yes.
Okay.
But I weighed it with some other geezer's scales because he come over and helped us because we didn't have any. And I'm sure, because he caught no fish all day, and if he's listening, he's probably going to call me out. But I'm sure he turned the scales up so it looked like my fish weighed less. Because I heard before we weighed it, he was like. And I'm like, what's he doing? And that £19 fish, I'm sure it was 25.
What have you learned from that?
Take your own scales.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got them. Just forgot them.
Avoid the fish politics.
Yeah.
Was you close to giving up though, Jack? Be honest. Tell the listeners what happened, because I think you spent quite a long time without a fish, didn't you? You didn't just catch loads of fish.
All right.
Come on, how long was it?
Me and my 3 mates have been fishing 6 times. And out of those 6 times, which accumulated probably over 100 hours, caught 1 fish, £6 chub. That was me again. And then on our 6th time, I caught a £19 carp.
So again, you got to be committed. You
got to be committed. And I was very close. I did say to my friends that this is the last time that I'm going without catching a fish, because if I don't catch this time, then I'm giving it up. So going boot sale, selling all my fishing gear.
I'll take it.
That's why I don't fish. Spectate. That's me. Spectate.
I don't get it.
Nah,
I don't get it.
You got to have a lot of patience, and
Yeah.
You got to be evil.
Yeah, and it's an evil process.
Yeah.
I've watched these lot fish before, and just when the hook gets stuck or it goes through an eyeball.
Yeah, that's only when the little ones though.
Yeah, it's criminal. It's horrible.
Mine and first Leon's conversation. Well, actually, not our first conversation. Our first argument almost.
Yeah, first beef
was at work, and we were beefing about whether fish can feel pain or not. And I was on the opposite side. I was saying that they couldn't, and I stand here today saying that they can. And I still dip a hook
They
in
have
the
to
water.
be able to feel pain.
Of course they can. What was the science or the logic behind them not feeling pain?
I think it's lack of guilt.
The
They don't
internet.
have to feel guilty.
Is it because people said
About fishing.
they can feel it, but they forget about it 6 seconds later, so they technically can't feel pain?
That was one of my arguments.
And they've already proved that fish has a longer memory than 3 or 6
Yeah, I
seconds.
know.
So just saying, innit?
Was it 3 seconds?
Yeah, it was 3 seconds because
I
they'd say
thought
you've got a
6.
brain of a goldfish.
Oh, they did pass a law saying that animal can't feel pain. So apparently,
Pass a law?
No, is it a law?
I don't know.
According to the government, fish can't feel pain.
Yeah. No, animals
Animals
can't feel pain.
Is that because they like hunting animals and they like
That's a
doing?
strange.
No, it's because they like pumping them through factories and feeding them loads of stuff to make them nice and fat for all of us to eat.
And if someone decides they don't have any pain, then you can treat them however you want.
Like boil them in a bath. It's getting a bit dark, right? Let's bring it
Yeah,
back.
let's switch up. Anyway, Leon, how are you doing, mate? How are you doing? Jack's taking this completely different avenue.
He is, mate. I'm actually doing really well. Got a new bike last week, so I've done 20 miles on it already. 2 10-mile bike rides.
20.
Been pretty good for my knee.
Oh yeah, that was at the Graffham Waters.
Yeah, Graffham Waters,
Nice.
and then did 10 miles around Gamlingay, around the village. That's pretty cool.
Are you doing this on your own?
I did Graffham Water with Nick,
Nice.
and then did Gamlingay on my own. Thought I'd just go out on my own yesterday
Need some
morning.
bike friends, didn't you?
I do need some bike friends. You're making me sound lonely.
Hey Max, we went out on the bikes the other day.
We did go out on the bikes the other day, Jack. That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Weren't the usual bike though. It's,
on private land, yeah.
Yeah, private land. Yeah, all private. Wouldn't do that. It's against the law. But it was my motorbike. It was my son's motorbike, so it's pretty small. And I thought I looked cool, but if I would have drove past something that could have shown my reflection, I'd have probably gone, "What an idiot!" But yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Other than the bike stuff, I'm feeling like I'm nearly at the point where, even though I've had loads of free time, kind of looking for a bit of structure in my day-to-day life.
Only
Almost.
just. You're only just getting there, mate.
Almost looking like I want to get back into work.
Well, you're ready to leave Warzone?
I don't know about that. But I'm on time limited slots on Warzone,
So you've always got your evenings anyway.
yeah.
I'm going to be the dad in the room. It's Warzone, that is Call of Duty, isn't it?
Yeah,
Talking about
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's
Right,
the
Call
one.
of Duty
Is
Warzone.
that still the big thing?
50 million players.
So, if you boys, so basically, you boys have moved on from Fortnite. Is that sort of like a younger sort of kids thing now? Or is it just you get owned
I
by the
haven't been
younger
on
kids?
Fortnite for like 2 years.
What's the reason for that then? Just Call of Duty is better?
It's getting owned.
Yeah. To be fair, I just weren't that good at Fortnite. It was the building, stuff like that. It just weren't. Call of Duty is a lot more, for me, realistic. And
Yeah, I watch Mason play it sometimes. It blows my mind how quick they can build stuff on that game. It's just like, it's not a game when you can build a structure that quick whilst getting shot by bazookas and stuff.
While shooting.
While shooting.
Does that mean we've like got a generation of kids that think like DIY is just like a couple of buttons and suddenly you've got a shed?
Mate, yeah.
Yeah.
And they can jump from a 60,000 foot drop and build platforms underneath them as they're falling. It's like you couldn't do that in real life. So why is that happening? I know it's a game, but I like a more realistic.
You know, I'm on both sides of the fence. But how you been then, Adam?
I've been good. This week kind of marks a step in the right direction out of the isolation of COVID for me, and I'm really happy about that. I managed to bubble with a mate of mine. We played a epic War of the Ring, Lord of the Rings kind of board game at the weekend. His missus is there too, so she joined us for a couple of games in the evening. So it just felt social. It felt like stuff I've essentially been depriving myself of for a long time that I did weekly, easily, sometimes twice a week. Had a chuck of the frisbee with another mate of mine out in the park, so there's like two loves I've fulfilled in the last week, and it seems like it might be a bit more regular. We've already organised like next Saturday, and I had a bit of frisbee with a mate of mine yesterday and watched The Matrix, and he's quite a bit younger than me, so I'm like educating him in like all these older movies that he hasn't seen before, so it's quite a nice repeat.
He hadn't seen The Matrix?
That's right.
Well,
he's probably 24, I think, so I don't know.
Does he know we live in it?
It did get him thinking. Actually, he is a computer programmer or something. Like he writes code.
Okay,
whatever that means.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought it aged really well. Actually, I thought it looks pretty good. Other than a little bit of weird phones. The ones where you press the button and the bottom shot shoots
they're
out.
like Motorola or something.
That's it. Yeah, everyone wanted one, and everyone had one like shooting across the floor when you press the button as well. But yeah, I feel better this week than I've felt for a while actually because of that, because it's a return to what I love. So
good,
happy with that. Yeah. What about you, Max?
I'd like to say I've done some frisbee, but I haven't, Adam. I'm slightly jealous. Structure. I need some structure. I am struggling. And when Leon says he's just getting to the point where he feels like he needs to get something, man, I was there about a month ago, literally. And the thing is, I always think there's people out there. I was talking to the cleaner this morning. Like I was in here, the cleaner come in, had a little chat, and she's been working every day. And we've gotten to the conversation of what we've been doing since the beginning and stuff. And it's like, although we've not had loads of work on, I've kept myself busy. I'm just so grateful, as stressed and as deflated. I use the word deflated. As deflated as I've been the last couple of weeks, I'm still grateful for the amount of stuff that, one, we've got to be able to get on with. Whether or not we're getting paid for it or not, we don't even know. But we still got stuff like this that we can do. I've got the children that are keeping me busy.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff that I'm grateful for. But I'm so grateful that I have actually got stuff to fill the time with, because if I hadn't, I don't think, mate, it'd be a different story. I would have lost the plot.
If I had Max rocking up and down on his trampoline in the back
you
garden.
can't see me right now, but I'm just rocking back and forwards. Yeah, that would have been me, I think.
Well, like the last 2 days for me, I've literally done nothing but binge watch Netflix, and I feel so guilty for just doing that, because I feel like I've wasted literally 10 hours a day of my life.
Guilt
not
is
doing
something.
nothing.
Yeah, guilt's something that creeps in for me when I do stuff like that. That's probably why I don't sit and do a lot of watching TV.
Leon,
What?
we sat and played RuneScape for like 2 years.
I don't remember that.
Is that the guilt? You just pushing it away.
Nah,
I didn't waste my life getting
Mate, I was
88 Slayer.
I was getting levels up, man. It felt like I achieved something. Netflix.
All right, here's a question on that then. So when does recreation, because we all need recreation, right? When do you start second guessing your level of recreation? Because, all right, there might be a too much, and I'm hearing a little bit of guilt as well about that, but we also need time to ourselves and enjoy time. And is there an element at the moment with being in the pandemic about we have almost a license to...
It's too much when you get in bed. No, you wake up from bed and it's like 6:30 in the day and you've done nothing, you hadn't had a shower, you ain't brushed your teeth, you're just sitting there like a slob, that's when you know you've had too much time on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I can't remember the last time that's happened to me.
You are a dad.
Yeah, I know, but still, don't talk about things that I reminisce about often. No, I'm joking. The thing is, I don't. And even when I didn't have kids, that's a wasted day for me. And I think I get that from my dad because he's up, and I don't get up early. And since lockdown, I've not been getting up nowhere near as early as what I used to. But the average day for me on a work day, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Whereas my dad, on the other hand, 4:30 is a late day for my dad to wake up because it's a wasted day. He's got so much stuff that he can do in the day. And I often say, like, you just need to chill out, man. Have a lie-in. I'm almost the same, just not as bad. Like I don't necessarily get up early, but I couldn't sit there and watch loads of stuff on TV because I'd feel guilty that I could have been doing something more productive. And when you look at that, dig deeper, I'm thinking straight away getting the kids to do something. But 9 times out of 10, especially the last couple of weeks, trying to get them to do anything other than what they want to do is actually it's near on impossible. Like they're just the attitude. They both need to go back to school. Yeah. Like, needs to happen now. So what are we saying? Can we reopen schools now?
do you know what helps as well? What affects it is the weather. So if the weather was hot, there's no way I'd have sat in my living room watching TV because it's been cloudy, it's been overcast. Like I'm not in my garden. Like whereas before, like me and Kareem would sit in the garden for like 2 hours, barely even say anything, but literally just sit on our phones, just in the sun, like chilling. But like now it's like we're sitting inside. The TV is obviously like a good distraction, and then 10 hours have gone past and you're like, ooh. Ooh.
That feels like there's a purpose to that. I relate to that as well. Like, if I'm going out like sunbathing or whatever, it's not that I've got nothing to do or anything like that. I'm actually getting some vitamin D, which is good for your immune system, getting a bit of a tan so I can build it up so I don't get burnt in the future. So like a lot of the time when I do a thing, it usually has to have a bit of a purpose behind it as well. And you talked earlier about bike rides, so bike rides as well. For a while when because I used to listen to podcasts on the like drive to work, and because I wasn't going to work, I was getting a bit behind on them. So bike rides became the purpose. It became the thing. I'd catch up on my podcast. So I feel like there's sort of, I have to apply meaning to things, otherwise it's a waste. Although I will also say I've done plenty of binge watching as well, but that I got a bit of a backache. So like if I'm lying on the couch, if I'm there too long, then my back starts to hurt. So if anything, it's motivating me to do other things. So I found myself in the early days of lockdown, like structuring my day quite quickly around, I was still getting up pretty early. I went mental on workouts as well. I've had a kettlebell for a while, but like I was doing 2 or 3, usually 3 like little exercises a day, only like a 15-minute thing, but it was regular. And I used to do it like after every meal, pretty much.
I was going to say that. Sorry, just jump in. I think it was Sarah the other day. We came in and moved some bits about using it. I was like, you've got some bit of size upper body. Like you could see the difference from when lockdown started. You're standing there. You might have been flexing a little bit. I'm not gonna
Oh, me? You're talking about me?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the geezer behind you.
Yeah, I thought you meant Sarah. You're referencing Sarah.
Oh, yeah, she's
Sarah's looking a bit massive.
That's a sore subject. No, you did. No, you did. And I thought he's definitely been working out. I knew that you had been, but it was noticeable. But like I say, you might have just been flexing.
It's like walking around like gritting my teeth like they will notice that I've improved.
No, I'll tell you when it was. We was loading the stuff up from the booth. What was it? I think it was the pillows and stuff. The sofas. It was these that we're sitting on. It was the day that we brought those up, and obviously you're a bit pumped to that, but you stood there and I was like, I want to mess with him.
Appreciate the acknowledgement, man. It's good. Yeah.
Keep at Adam.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
And it's definitely twice a day now, because I've got slightly less time with coming into work and stuff. So yeah, so I mean the discipline side of things, and it was kind of a subject for the podcast today about like how we maintain discipline and how we maintain focus and how it gets to a certain point where we're tearing our hair out as well. So we've got like quite a lot of different perspectives.
Can I just ask you on your one though, when you were saying about the workout, you said up to 2 you was doing a day or a week?
A day.
This was at the beginning of lockdown? Or
right up until we returned to work, essentially. So for me, it was like about 3 weeks ago.
How's that gone now, like the last few days or last week? Have you maintained it?
I have. It's twice. It's twice I can do in the morning. I can definitely do one. And then in the evening, I can definitely do one after I eat.
You do come across as someone that's fairly disciplined anyway, and would stick that. And especially when you're looking at the productive side of things, or if you're making a purpose, doing something for purpose, that's almost a discipline in itself. But is it not a discipline? But it's a way of training your brain in a way to think that actually this is not a chore. Like I'm doing this, to do this, or not even if it's a chore, if you're doing something. So when you said about the sunbathing, for example, you're saying you need vitamin D. again, I'm knocking myself back for doing stuff like that. I'm thinking, why aren't I doing something that I could be doing? I could be editing a video. I could be making a video. I could be doing something that could potentially make me money in the future or support my family in the future. I have to have something that I feel, even if I waste all day on something I don't end up using, but at least I tried. Just sitting there. But now when you say about the vitamin D, I could just sit there and go, actually, no, Max, you need this, mate. Like, you need to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can also look at it as you need to chill out. Self-care and stuff like that. So you can
I don't do that. I need to practice what I preach more, man. That's something I've become more aware of.
Your brain's too active, man. It's just...
It's like,
It's not a bad thing, though. It's not a bad trait at all.
As someone who's definitely got the trait of like beating myself up, I do massively relate to that. And one of the things that I learned when I was on my counselling course is the power of permission. There's something about like giving yourself permission to do a thing.
Can you say power of permission again?
Because we've got these... We're testing the plosives. We've got the power of permission. We're testing how that comes out on the mic. So those that are listening, we got a little bit of gear as well. We've got some arms now extending from the table rather than just the normal mic stands. And on the front of that, we've got, how do we describe it? Look,
a disc.
A
disc with
fuzzy
a
disc.
foam on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the young ones will know exactly what these are. We're
yes,
just
of course.
We are noobs.
So we were trying to like basically reduce some of the echo, all those kind of things that you consider when you're doing a podcast as well. So yeah, we bought these and I don't know how it sounds. Give us some feedback. This is message in the comments. But yeah, we were toying between these and like the fuzzy mic thing as well. So, well, giving these a go.
Yeah, I think the fuzzy mic thing might be something that we invest in because these are. Do you know what? It was in the way, but since we started, I've not actually noticed it.
I've just brought all the attention to them, and now we've started fiddling with them again.
Yeah, now they're moving.
It took a while to get these to stay where they're meant to stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Adam.
That's all right. So what we were talking about?
Back.
The permission.
Power
of permission. Yeah, just in terms of like, I'm going to allow myself this, or I'm going to do this. It's like, rather than like doing anything, feeling guilty, and then later on you're beating yourself up kind of thing as well. And certainly with, like, I've been out of work in the past as well, and one of the things that I did in terms of discipline was I wanted to get to the end of the day without feeling like a loser. We've talked about this before, Jack, about, feeling like you do at least one thing to contribute towards your future. Helped not beat myself up at the end of the day as well, which I'm dead susceptible to. So in terms of like COVID, I guess, and the disciplines, and maybe people are struggling with this at the minute, maybe just like lists helped me. I've got like a goal list, and I tick them off as I go. And I don't want to either paint myself as someone who's super disciplined, because I'm actually battling the beating myself up thing at the end of the day. It's not because I'm like, public speaker, guru, motivational speaker, that kind of thing. I'm protecting myself in a weird kind of way. So I don't want that feeling at the end of the day.
See, I don't get that. I feel like I do, unless I'm like in a bad way almost, like within myself. I feel like I'm the complete opposite. I almost give myself too much power to sort of like get away with things. I'll do it another day. I don't need to do that now. I wake up in the morning, do a workout. Nah. I'll have a full English breakfast and just play some Xbox.
Oh,
and I don't feel guilty. But I don't feel guilty about it, and like that's not a good thing.
Yeah, but maybe if you had other responsibilities that are weighing on your shoulders,
then I would.
You wouldn't be thinking about what you want to do. You'd be thinking, what I need to do to help others at the same time.
And in your defence, massively, like, if I take myself back to 21.
Oh, yeah.
21? 22?
21.
When I take myself back to that age, there's no way I would have... Well, actually, I had my first kid. All right, if I take myself back to 19, 20, I didn't give a damn. I literally didn't... Again, I wasn't in this line of work. You've got sort of the responsibility of like this sort of job and stuff, but actually you're at the age that you are where you got the ball in your court. Like, so why would you care on what you do? Because at the minute, like you say, no responsibilities really, no ties. Do what I want when I want. You can, literally. I'm jealous.
I can.
I'm a little bit jealous.
I can.
When I was 21, like, although I pretty much did what I want, I was still in the gym every single day. But that's because I was probably eating, well, the right stuff to build weight on.
Veggies, yeah?
Yeah, that was before the veggie stage. But yeah, I was probably eating the right stuff, like eating like chicken in the morning, tins of tuna like throughout the day, chicken before I went to bed.
Sorry, Leon, let me just jump in there.
Go on.
Chicken in the morning, man.
That's what you got to do, mate.
No. Would you have pie as well next day?
No, you got to eat every 2 hours. Maximise your protein.
Yeah. The only reason I know
intake.
that is because when I was on that, when the Fitbits first become a thing and really popular, I had the app on my phone. I remember telling you this, Jack. I was trying to gain muscle mass and a bit of weight. I've always been really skinny through my teen years, and that was something that played on my mind. Blah blah blah. Anyway, come up with like a speedometer almost type thing, like a is that what you call it? A speedometer, thermometer, not a thermometer, but a gauge, a dial gauge.
Yeah.
So anything that I consumed, I had to either scan the barcode,
yeah.
and it would come up with all the stats, the calories and the intake and all that sort of stuff. If it didn't, I had to punch them in manually, which was most of the stuff because it was a new app. So I was sitting there every day, and no matter what I done, no matter how much food I was consuming, I was always in the red. I needed to get this arm on this needle on this chart into green, because I was burning that many calories. Obviously, I had to. They was telling me what I needed to consume. I couldn't get any more in my body, and that was so deflating. Like literally watching that, looking at the amount that I'd consume. Me and Dom, who was plaster at the time, so I was obviously I was on my feet a lot. But to eat that much food and know that I'm still under budget almost according to this app, I was fighting a losing battle. So I thought, you know what? Not doing it no more. Stop working out. Stop training. It's a lifestyle, man. And I just weren't willing to go that. I couldn't fit any more protein shakes in my body. I was having protein shakes in between meals, but not just having 3 meals a day. I was having like 4 or 5 meals a day.
Yeah, that's
Ridiculous.
but at 21, that's what I was
yeah.
doing. Like eating that often.
Animal.
And you was doing thingy weren't you, as well, bodybuilding. Not bodybuilding, bouncering. Is that the word?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
Throwing people out of
I was
clubs.
doing boxing at the time. I was doing running. Me and Nick used to go Chick Sounds, do 10k every Sunday. Doing gym, definitely once a day, if not between 5 and 6 days a week. I did start doing door work. I think I was around 23. I think I started doing that. Did that for 2 years.
So if you was one of those goons in the pubs back in the day, you could have been chucked out by Leon.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Yeah, probably not. I was probably one of the guys that hold him back a little bit.
Get
him, boys.
And had a nice cushy job in a hotel, just working for my dad's business. So, supporting the cause.
Very nice.
I was wondering what changed, Leon, because I've seen the picture of you in the
What do
office.
you mean? Well, you saying you don't work out no more?
Well, there's a picture in the office of you super hench, right?
Yeah.
And you're not as hench.
He actually was. I was
Okay.
only
Cool.
joking.
No,
because
he was super hench.
Yeah.
He was, wasn't he? He was big.
I wouldn't mess with him back then.
Because my
but now-
assumption would be that if you're super hench, then that's kind of how you spend your entire life. You're going to be like, getting your gains all the time, building up. And I'm hoping I'm not going to go down a road of like you beating yourself up because of a thing that you've given up. But I am curious about what that change was.
No, I've thought about that. So I think it's my sort of priorities in life. Like, so like that in my head when I was younger, maybe feeding into my ego a bit more, I was thinking I needed to be like I had to be this size, had to be able to lift this. And now I'm like, well, as long as I'm reasonably fit, I'm not that bothered.
Mm-hmm.
So like when gyms reopen, I'll go 2 or 3 times a week, but I know now I'll never push myself as hard as I pushed myself back then. It might be an age thing, but I just feel like the goal that I was aiming for then is a lot different to the goal I'm aiming for today. So I just want to be fit and healthy now.
Makes sense, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like you woke up a bit in some ways, because it is, when you look at what you used to do, that's a lifestyle and you would not be able to stick to that. And I think it's about waking up and realising actually if you did want to stick with that, you need to find a partner that is fully on board with that and know that is the rest of your life. Because look at Dwayne Johnson, for example. Like, what that guy does on a regular, what
He's
that guy
extreme.
consumes, right? That's his lifestyle, but that is what pays his bills. He wouldn't be the man he is today if he didn't do what he'd done. If he stopped training no one's going to want him for the movies that he's in. No one's going to want him because of the size. Like Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Imagine he goes saggy.
But it's a full-on lifestyle. Just watch 1 meal day of what he has per day. Do you know what I mean? It's just... And the amount of time that he spends in the gym, he probably spends, if you put it into hours, you said something, I don't know if it was, it wasn't this podcast, about how many hours you'd
I've done
committed.
fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you think of that over a course of a period, whether it's gym work or whatever, the amount of hours that guy's put into gym, he's probably spent more times in the gym, more hours in the gym than he has at home.
Yeah, 100.
But look at what the guy's got. So it's about,
100%.
that's a guy disciplined to another level.
But do you want to get to a huge size to the point where you are actually
Just maintaining.
putting your body in more of a bad state because you want to get huge? Because doesn't it get to a point where your body...
It depends on the individual though, Jack. So like, it depends. Like, so if you're striving for something or you see that as success, that's what you're going to aim for.
Are you more like the health? You're on about the health side of it, though.
Yeah, that's what I was on about. Rather than being like, although you like might be getting massive, like you are actually putting your body in risk of heart attacks. And
I feel like maybe people like The Rock and like maybe celebrities that are that big, like if you look at what they eat and everything like that, they've got personal chefs that do everything for them.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to cook anything. They just go to the gym and they just eat. But obviously for the average person, they may go to the gym, but it's what they're prepared to do. So it's like you're not prepared to go to the gym every day. Huh?
I had a membership for like 2 years.
How many times do you go?
Probably like 4.
So you're not prepared to go through that pain to get to where they want to go.
Not just that. You said something about the chefs and stuff. They haven't just got chefs. He will have his own scientist. He'll have his own doctor. When you're looking at the transformations, not just him, but any bodybuilder, when they go from zero to hero, not saying steroids, even with those that take steroids and stuff, but even the natural ones, because there is a lot of steroids in that game, they have the backing and the knowledge of people that are paid thousands and thousands. Like for any old Tom, Dick and Harry to get into that, that's where the risk side of it comes from, because he's not just got chefs, he's got, like we say, doctors, people checking his bloods and his arteries and all of the bodily functions that need to be working. He's probably, his body, with as big as it is and the amount of, he's probably got the healthiest body than anyone in this building that we're in, like just because of the knowledge and the power that he's got and the people that he'll get working for him.
Yep, agreed.
It's all science, isn't it? There's so much science involved, it's crazy. Yeah. I think he's going to be president.
Nah, it's Kanye West.
Nah, I'm going Dwayne Johnson, president. Because what do you reckon? Come on, let's have a little.
He could get it.
I think he's got. He'll be the next one. Yeah, he'll be the next president of America.
If he wanted to run.
He will. He can run, boy. He can also lift, however many.
He can jump. He's a Hulk. So how did we get onto this from
I don't
temptation?
even know. Discipline and temptation. Leon's workouts. Adam saying about Leon.
Yeah. I was thinking
Leon
about
losing it.
with the discipline side of things, you cited like people, but I also think that sometimes you get to a stage where every day that you don't do a thing is a backward step. And I'm feeling that a little bit at the minute with the working out and those sort of little gains that I've got. I could stop. I don't really want to, because I don't want to start that all again. I don't want to start with how uncomfortable it is listening to 20k kettlebell like 5 times. I can get 10 now. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, because it fades away so quickly. That's definitely part of my motivation as well.
That's why it hurts me though. I feel like train for like 2 years and then you could stop and then just lose it all.
In a week.
Yeah.
In a week.
But you can get it back a lot quicker,
weeks,
but at the same time you still lose it.
Yeah.
Like if you could pay $2,000, yeah, or even $5,000, maybe even 10. Yeah, just to get absolutely wham within a day. They just
I can feel a shortcut coming on.
like, boom, wham. I'd pay that.
Well, have you seen Upgrade? I'm joking. It's not just there's no quick fixes in life. That's something we should all be aware of that. And the thing is, like, you look at the greats that we've spoke about, Michael Jordan, brought up Linford Christie on another podcast. You look at Dwayne Johnson, anyone that we've spoke about and has got huge success in what they've done. They are disciplined to the point where they probably lost friends, family, everything along the way. I lost out on a lot of stuff that I've got to cherish. Family moments, all that sort of stuff. Time away with the kids, whatever, arguments, even the bits that you don't like. They probably have, there's pros and cons to anything, but you can't. There's no denying the fact that they didn't cheat their way there.
No, it's what they're prepared to put in. So they're prepared to put in that much. Like, I don't know. I read a book where it's like they called it pain, even though it's not pain. It's like progress, but they're putting their body through like everything. So whether they're not seeing family members, are they prepared to put themselves through that? The more stuff that they're prepared to put themselves through, the more stuff they'll achieve in what they're actually aiming to sort of go
sense. For. That's what people say, and I often say that you've got to have a side of selfishness to you in order to do something like that, or you've got to believe and have the vision that vivid, that clear in your mind that actually you know exactly where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I'd like to say I'm disciplined, but I know for a fact, like I said, these last couple of weeks, especially these last couple of weeks, I've been a little bit more organised in some ways, but disciplined. Like I said, I was going to stop eating junk food.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Me too.
Sometimes I actually find myself binge eating and I'm thinking, am I depressed? Like I've been up and down the last couple of weeks mentally and stuff. Just not nothing major. But Jack, you know about my drawer.
Oh mate, it's just like my drawer.
It's got just full of snacks and goodies and stuff. And like sometimes I literally, if I was feeling a little bit down, a little bit neg, didn't get the video done that I wanted to get done, didn't finish the edit for the podcast, Chris is waiting for it, or something, whatever it is that's getting to me, I find myself just yamming biscuits. Literally, I'm talking 10, 15 biscuits, and I'm thinking, this is weird, this is not right. I shouldn't be eating that many biscuits, and I think it's just to sort of like, I don't know, it's just to feed that depressive state.
I'm curious about that as well. Certainly early lockdown, like I'm really disciplined with my diet, and again, don't want to paint myself as a guru. I've got all sorts of like internal problems that can get disrupted if I start eating really badly. So again, I don't want that feeling. So I eat properly, essentially. But early days, I was buying things I'd never bought for years, like crackers. I've never bought crackers for yonks.
Cheese.
I like these things called butter puffs because of sort of the consistency of it. So I was getting stuff. I was just getting rubbish. I was at one point, Ben and Jerry's went on offer. I think it was like £2 a pot, and I bought 6 of them.
Got to though.
Yes,
You've
Adam.
got to. If it goes down to £2.
But do you know why they're so expensive?
I'd like to know. They're delicious.
So apparently, I'm speaking from a fact that I see on Facebook or Instagram. Apparently, they only employ ex-offenders like that come out of prison. Ben and Jerry's.
Oh,
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
that's cool.
So it is
Probably
worth.
worked with a lot of them, Adam.
Probably.
Probably did.
Past life. Worked. Keyword, worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
But like, I even bought 6. Like, we were talking about temptation. I bought 6 and I was thinking I'll have 1 a week. Did I? No. I had like 2 in the first week and probably 2 in the second week because I had a large quantity of them. So I was like, I might as well use them up. Mental. Absolutely
did you
mental.
When you sit down here, do you eat a whole Ben and Jerry's?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well,
I can't lie. When I get to the bottom, I do struggle. I do. Like I'm sitting there just picking out all the cookie dough pieces.
Yeah,
fish food's the one for me, man.
Oh yeah, I heard that is good.
Marshmallowy.
Don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah, but the name puts me off. I don't understand. This is what why you call it something like that.
Oh, it's named
Like,
after a band.
I
There's
don't
like
care.
there's like a 70s band
Fish
called
and ice
Fish.
cream shouldn't
Yeah.
be used in the same. Like, it just shouldn't. Like, but I do like it.
Has got marshmallow in.
I resorted to getting the smaller ones because Mason sent me down to the shop the other week to get one, and when I'd see it was £5.50 in co-op for. It wasn't even the large one; it was the medium one, and then you could get 3 little ones, mini ones for £3, so it was like £1 each. So I just bought 2 packs of those. Didn't get one. No, I got 1 out of the 6. I managed to get 1. That's the thing when you got kids. It's a battle to get the goodies. You can buy the goodies, but are you going to get to enjoy the goodies before they're all gone?
There's kind of a joke going around at the moment about, I think, the lockdown stone or whatever, you know, this weight that people are putting on as a result of the lockdown. And I can see that being an issue. Like, I can see that being like a societal thing. Because if, like, all of us were deprived of the things that we enjoy, particularly around our social lives in the early days, deprived of a lot of different things, actually. And I wondered if, like, food was the way that we just sort of comforted ourselves or give us a bit of pleasure.
Comfort food, that's what I was looking for. Comfort eating. That's what I found myself doing. A lot of that. I think everyone, well, not everyone, I can't speak for them, but I reckon.
I think the vast majority, though, Max, for sure.
Definitely. I have.
So if you're giving in to the temptation to eat your Ben and Jerry's, eat a load of biscuits, what do you think you're getting out of it?
I sit there every single mouthful going, that is so good.
That's good.
Oh, that is so good. Oh, that's so good. And that's what I'm getting out of it.
I'm getting there, Jack. You're not feeling guilty about doing this, though. So.
Oh, yeah. No, not at all. When I get it, I'm like excited, man.
So maybe if Adam or Max, if they're eating a load of biscuits and you're feeling a bit like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and you're eating a Ben and Jerry's, what are you getting out of it?
Well, there was the element of permission I was given. And anyway, like, I was like, I'm going to do this. I don't think there was a huge amount of guilt. There was only guilt after I realised that it'd become almost a repetition. Like, I was buying one every week kind of thing. I was on that road now where it was part of my shopping list, which had never been before. So
It's
He's an addict.
yeah, I mean, I'd say guilt is the wrong word, but there was like an unpleasantness, I suppose. But I pride myself on some of the disciplines and the steps that I take in life, and it feels like progress for me. I like progressing, and it just felt a bit of a backward step. And the reason I didn't beat myself up was because it was fairly easy to turn around as well, because it was like, okay, I won't do that kind of thing, or I'll do it less, or whatever, and sort of wean myself off, I suppose. But that's not to say that I'm experiencing depriving myself of the things that I enjoy either. I will buy a Ben and Jerry's now and again, and I'll blooming well enjoy it. It'll be awesome. You know?
Why not?
And that's fine. And there's no guilt attached to that. It's an enjoyment. It's an acceptance of the consequence if there is any, if it starts disrupting me and stuff. But in terms of like what I get out of it, an interesting psychological observation, I suppose.
Because that's how I see it. Is like, so if you're giving into it, so the only thing that's craving that is your body. It's not actually your mind. It's like your body. So you eat something sweet because you feel like, it's just there. I just want to eat it. But even though the only thing that you get out of there is pleasure of the taste, then once you swallowed it, it's gone. And then
there's not a lot of nutritional value. That's undeniable. But it probably meets a need somewhere in there that I might have trouble pinpointing. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I'm not depressed, but like I'm doing a lot less of the things that I'm enjoying. So I'm going to allow myself this. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because I've been eating a lot of Kinders, little Kinders.
Oh,
I love them. What about those little Lotus biscuits?
Oh, have you seen the ones with chocolate on them?
Mate, I've been
They do chocolate ones, Jack. They do Lotus biscuits with the chocolate. So they're almost like the dairy milk, like the ones with cows on the back.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've got in my biscuits in a minute, I've got those, the cow ones with the chocolate on. I've got hobnobs with chocolate on, and I've got Lotus biscuits with chocolate. You can understand why I have 15 at a time. Like, it's mad. I just feel guilty when I do it. One, for my health.
The thing is, when you are eating them, I feel like there is a little bit of joy that you get from it, but it's just so temporary. Because once you've eaten it, it's gone.
Yeah.
I used to eat really quick, but I have started to eat slow because of that reason. I literally just let it, like, if it's ice cream, I let it melt in my mouth for ages, and then I'll savour every single bit of cookie dough just to make it last a little bit longer.
So, on temptation, is there anything other than food that you have temptations?
Temptation. For me.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go first. I'll let you go.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Go on, you started.
It's my turn to cut him up. So mine probably Xbox. So I'll know that, like, if I go on it for like 3 or 4 hours, Corrine, she might be a little bit annoyed at me because I've been on it for too long. Even though there's nothing to do, but still I've got that urge where I need to give in to it. and I know, like, she's gonna be annoyed. She's got to go sit upstairs and then put the TV on upstairs. But I'm like, nah, there's something in me that's urging to play it. And I'm like,
I've got to get that dub.
But yeah, literally. But I think it's more of a thing, like, especially when I know my friends are online.
Yeah.
And like, they're like, "Are you coming on with like 3-man squad?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll come in 2 minutes." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we're not doing anything, so why can't I go on?"
Yeah.
Well, I've heard someone argue that point as well in support of that argument, which is that some people just they can't like interact with people, so at least video games serve an element of that.
Yeah.
You know, you might be just sort of like dissing everybody and taking a mickey or whatever, but at least you're interacting in some virtual way.
Well, that's what I've got with my kids at the minute, because I'm the dad that I let them go on computers and all that sort of stuff, but I'm trying to minimise screen time, and I have been and was doing so up until all this happened. Lockdown happened. I'm now going against it, because if I did take that away from them as much as I was before, they are not communicating with their friends. Mason might only be on there calling them all idiots and getting abuse back his way, because although they're all best mates, the way they talk to each other, and I've heard it with him sitting to the right of me as well, Jack, and Leon, when you're on them games, like my days, how World War III hasn't started from these online games, I do not know.
Maybe it's not started because of online games.
Yeah, we're getting it all out.
Maybe. But is the urge, though, when you get that urge, Leon, is the urge to play that, to get onto a game, is it the urge of actually doing something good on the game and productive, where it's like a win or getting some kills or victories or whatever, or is it the urge in the sense that you could be missing out on convo with your mates? Like, them urges come from somewhere, don't they?
Yeah.
It's not just to kill time, or is it just to get some time?
I would say it's a mix of those. So the games themselves are, like, the way they're created, are genuinely addictive, and like, that's
designed for
with like you buying skins, or you just the type of gameplay you've got to get in, get as many kills as you can, try and get that win. You get close to it. The closer you get to the win, the more of an adrenaline rush you get in. And then at the same time, like, you're with your mates, you're going, "Oh yeah, Jack's down. I've got him for you. I'll pick you up." Like, you're picking your friends up. You're going through it. You're going through this emotional roller coaster together. And at the same time, in the down times, you're just chatting rubbish, and you just just chatting to each other and
so
having
I
fun.
said, like, imagine people say, "Why do you play video games?" And although it's not exactly this, but you imagine, like, we're all stuck at home in coronavirus. You can jump out of a plane with your friends, land, shoot people, drive your cars around, shoot rocket launchers, fly helicopters. You're not actually doing it, but you feel like you are when you're that immersed into a game. You genuinely feel like you're on a battlefield and you're running around shooting people, which, if you're stuck at home doing nothing, is better things to do than anything else.
Is there an argument for escapism?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%.
From
reality.
Although it's not like depressing or like horrific, it is just distracting away from like that going
definitely.
on. Yeah.
I think most stuff is these days, though, isn't it? Like, when you look at scrolling through social media, or me with editing, like, that is me to me, that's like people say you need to just chill out and stuff. Like, no, that is almost my escapism. Like, I'm doing something to keep me busy, keep my mind active, because if I sit too much, especially with the current situation, I would slowly start to deteriorate. I know massively. I would, my mental state, my physical state. So I keep the mind busy, the body as busy as I can. But I think when you look at anything that's designed these days, it is all a distraction, it's all to keep you engaged, and a case of escapism, where it's browsing or playing or cooking, knitting. It's all to escape from reality for a small...
It's a good point, Max, on temptation. Like, just to have your phone in your hand, looking at it, how hard is it to avoid that temptation?
Yeah,
and like, even if you haven't got no notifications, let's say you're just sitting there in your room,
worse.
It's quiet, and you know you can literally just jump into Instagram, 5 minutes is gone. Like, you've just killed 5 minutes.
But how mad is it that when you don't get you said about no notifications, this is how much it's got into our system, is when you haven't got notifications, you're still drawn to it, expecting there to be notifications.
Do you ever get this?
Why isn't there notifications?
Do you ever get like a vibration in your pocket?
It's not there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you pick it up and it's not vibrating, and you're like,
Or what about your phone's not even
I'm
in
going
your
mental.
pocket?
yeah,
It
all
happens
that.
when your
And
phone's
I'm
not in
like,
your pocket.
I'm sure I felt it. Like, I even heard it sometimes. Ding.
Yeah.
Or anyone else's phone goes off, that's it. You just got to look at yours for no
Well,
reason.
on this one, I'd recommend for the
Make you wanna
viewers
pick it up.
listening and for you lot in the room now,
Yeah.
the dark side of smartphones, right? This, just from what we've just spoke about, that need or that escapism and what they can do and how they sort of tick boxes or make things trigger in our brains to make us that way, the way that we are. I think it's called The Dark Side of Smartphones. You can get it on YouTube. It was on BBC One a few years back. The media team at Central Breds College told us about it. It's scary. And just that, you look at what that does to the brain, that notification goes off, they put some woman under all the cables like an ECG
Electrodes and
type,
that.
the electrodes and stuff. And just having that phone next to her, she was automatically sort of sinking in with that. Do you know what I mean? As soon as it made that notification, even if it wasn't her sound to her phone, the brain is boom, straight on that. No matter what you want to think about, all you're thinking about is what is on that phone. What is it? Crazy.
It is crazy, but that's another thing that I think it was a few years ago when we had this chat, and I just remember like we were just talking about it and say like behind every app there's like teams of hundreds of people
Oh yeah, it's scary.
working together to convince you to keep repeating and going on that app and like,
Consume.
and doing, maybe creating like slogans and like notifications to come up on your phone, so then you revisit the app. Like, that's scary.
Well,
but that plays on
Alright,
the human temptation.
What about this on TikTok? Don't ever use TikTok really, but I got a notification from it and it said, I'm pregnant, ...
Oh, you said about this, yeah.
What kind of notification is that? I don't know, it was like
Got
the
you
title.
interested though,
It was
didn't it?
it was a title to the video, but I look at it and I can't remember where I was. I think I was at work or I was doing something with people that couldn't see that text. And I look at it and then instantly I lock my phone and I'm sitting there thinking, what is going on?
Because they make it look like it's for you. That message was to you. I had it before. Someone asked for a duet. I'm like, I don't even use it. But someone wants to sing with me. Clicked on it. It was a celebrity. They did not message me to ask to duet. They just
Yeah.
want me to duet with whoever it blooming was. That come on. I'm like,
post it.
sneaky. What you said though with the apps, right? Again, dark side of social media and technology and stuff. All these logos, the icons, the blues, the light colours, the real bright, vivid sort of colours that we've got. They are the colours that are used on things like fruit machines and in casinos. And the reason why, because they're eye-catching, they draw your attention to them. Why do they want them to do that? Because obviously when we do choose that platform to escape and chill out and have a little binge watch, it will keep us there longer, and it will just, it's programmed in. I think Channel 4 have even changed their logo to yellow, blue. It's like the Snapchat, the Facebook, they all tie in. You have a look. You look at certain logos there, you'll see the yellows, the blues and the greens and stuff that they use. So bright, like it's crazy. And if they, after a while, I think it was like last year before, they actually changed. Remember when all the logos changed and went like a new version?
Yeah.
See how brighter they got. They went from a duller yellow to a brighter yellow because we were getting used to it.
I do
Scary.
feel like they
Mind
are,
games.
apps are definitely playing on our temptations to keep going on them. And
Would you
make
be
money
up for
from us.
VR world? Like, because
Yes.
Jack was saying about
Escapism, yeah.
right. When you look at Ready Player One, who's seen Ready Player One?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah, that. Do you reckon that could happen? Like, are we getting more and more closer to that? As
On its way, they've got haptic suits now. The things that you wear that kind of like feel like someone's prodding you, kind of stuff. If you get shot or whatever,
Yeah.
so they're working. The thing is about technology. I think it doesn't stop. It's sort of like there's no like, oh, this is wicked iPhone. That'll do.
Yeah, let's just
we'll
stop.
leave it now. We won't like evolve anymore. But I think with the the great things around VR anyway. I remember the days where they tried to release quote VR stuff, and it was shocking compared to what it is now. It's pretty close. It's getting there, and it's getting there with each iteration. You get certain publishing houses that come out with like almost like the gold standard, so everybody wants to copy them, and then this kind of one-upping themselves. I know the latest Half-Life game was pretty phenomenal.
Oh, mate.
Like they kind of nailed the physics of VR, which they'd up until that point somewhat struggled with. So each time it's evolving.
I think Player One is a bit of an extreme, but I reckon that the world that they create where they all live in is definitely possible.
And the fact that
maybe not that they all rely on it. It's not, as a human society, maybe we don't rely on it so much to get out of like the real world. But I reckon there's no way. No, it's only going that way where they'll end up creating a world where anyone can just jump in, do what they want.
Well, you say that you can use bazookas and you can do what you done on your game. You imagine doing that in a world, a VR world, where it actually feels real. And you can actually make money, and your job is in that world, not this world. That's mad.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Anyway, if you haven't seen that, I recommend watching that. Ready Player One, it's called, isn't it?
It's a great movie. Yeah, we need to kind of wrap up now.
Yeah.
So, in sort of terms of the subject, I suppose we were aiming for was around temptation, and certainly in the COVID world that we live in, there's a lot of temptations out there, and some of those might be the distracting way from what's really going on, the feeling of a society that we're deprived of certain things, so other things perhaps increase. There might even be a case for, all right, it's not necessarily negative. It might actually be something that will get you through the day or whatever. But I think I feel from personal experience, my advice is monitor it, because I've observed myself getting into bad habits, and I managed to kind of skew away from a little bit. So I think it's probably down to your own.
Well, they do say, don't they? They say anything in moderation, as long as you are monitoring it and stuff. And we didn't really touch base on, we've looked at some of the temptations for us, but there's some bad temptations that people, like I was talking about the other week, but people that drink a lot of alcohol.
Oh yeah, that went up, didn't it? Massively.
Yeah, you think about all that sort of stuff. We're talking about video games and binge eating and stuff like that. But there's going to be people out there that have just started drinking massively and stuff like that. So I think we missed out on a lot of topic. We could even come back to this one. I think if anyone wants to get involved and actually put some of their feedback in, or if they have,
or come on as a guest, as someone who's experienced some of these struggles, let us know.
Yeah, definitely change up a bit. We're getting bored of our four faces, are we not? Voices, you can't even see our faces.
But I'd say maybe as well for me, if anyone questions, let's say as an example for myself, playing a lot of Warzone at the minute, partner might question me, are you playing it too much? Don't just fight it, maybe actually have a little think, am I playing it too much? Have I been on my phone too much? Don't just go against it and fight it, because you might actually think it might be affecting you and you don't even realise it just because you're so involved.
Or affecting them.
Actually,
or affecting them and people around you.
That's perfect, Leon. I'm so glad you said that. Only because quickly I wanted to say what I got Mason Mears to do yesterday, and this is for this exact reason. They are looking at me as if I'm the dad that's just moaning, because although I like them on it because they're playing with their friends and they're talking, there is some bad things that can come from it. So I got them to do a little bit of research. I gave them 6-7 questions or something on a piece of paper, both identical. The importance of sleep, the ages of what hours certain people should get sleep, young people, adults, screen time, the pros, the cons, the benefits, and this, that, the other. They literally, honestly, I'll bring it in tomorrow. They had 2 A4 sheets. I didn't believe she had handwritten it because writing has just evolved massively. But the stuff that was on there, all right, they literally done that and then went back on the computer. But just to get them to take that information in, and actually this is amazing what we've got, but it can be a negative thing. And if you spend too much time on it, you're affecting your mental state and your well-being and all that sort of stuff. So again, we can evaluate and moderate what we do. But for kids and stuff, because it's all new to them, there could be a lot of young people or parents with young kids that are really battling.
Yeah, they're not as self-aware, are they?
Yeah, not as self-aware. Yeah, cool. I had to get that out there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Get it out.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, is that it?
Yep. We are here to listen.
It's listen.
Peace out.
Howdy.
See you later, guys. Thank you.